intersection of good drinks, good music, and good times. This is Hops and Spirits Bar Conversations.
We've got another fun episode for you, and this time I think a lot of folks might know them if they watched a certain show. We'll get into that here in a second. Also, don't forget to follow us at Hop Spirits, all one word. And if you want to get a little extra insight into some of our shows, join our Facebook group, Country Music and Bourbon, to stay up with all of that. Let's now welcome in our guest. He's a country artist, songwriter, who is out on the road right now for his Neon Does tour. And his latest single, the one my daddy found, is out now. Let's welcome in Bryce Leatherwood.
Yeah. How we doing, y'all? I'm excited, man.
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. Just busy as all get out. On the road, 5 days out of the week. Just living the dream, man. It's as simple as that. I get to do what I love to do every day.
I love that. And since this is Bar Conversations, I decided to have a little whiskey tonight. A little Alan Jackson's whiskey Silver Belly. Yeah. You got anything good?
I have a lot of good stuff out of my bar outside, but I'm just gonna go with Old Faithful right now. So my favorite's actually probably gonna be Four Roses Single Barrel. If I had to the most affordable, nice, everyday drinker, that one. But my favorite's Jefferson's Ocean, though. Jefferson's Ocean is my favorite.
I like it. So I take it you have a few on your bar cart. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh yeah, I got a whole slew of them.
Now you mentioned kind of Four Roses and Jefferson's Ocean. Are you more of a straight bourbon guy? Do you like the rye whiskey? Or are you just depending on your mood?
It depends. I like a good neat rye. I'll do like Whistle Pig, like 12 year. That's really good. I'm more of a bourbon guy, I'd have to say. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I get that. I was bourbon, and then as I do this more often, talking and having a drink, I've gotten into the rye a lot more, and it's always fun to see how your taste buds change over time.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I can't ever go wrong with a Miller Lite either. That's always in the fridge as well.
It'll never let you down. It'll never let you down, Jonathan. It never will.
Now, for those that are watching the episode, this next question is perfect because, if we're going off of what you're wearing, I know the answer, but I don't know. Cowboy hat, trucker hat, you're rocking both in a lot of photos. Right now, you kind of got the cowboy hat. What's your favorite, or does it, again, depend?
It all depends, I think it's all for the occasion. I wear it to respect all the legends in the past. I wear that to respect that, and I grew up riding horses and stuff on my granddad's farm, and it was always a dream to be a cowboy. Like Toby Keith would say, should have been a cowboy, right? So it all depends, and I wanted to get all fancy up for this interview, so here I am.
I like it. So now I'm guessing on stage the cowboy hat is worn a little bit more often, right?
Oh, every time you got to have it on. I think Merle wore his, Hank wore his. My heroes did, so I do too.
Now, how many cowboy hats do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a big rack up here of all of them. I got like at least 10 or 12, but I always end up wearing my favorite one right here. It's by Bullhide. They're a company that gifts me a lot of hats, and they sponsor me a good bit. And this is a not a very expensive hat, but it does the job. Absolutely.
Hey, there's just something about that comfort, whether it's a hat, a drink, that you always just keep going back to.
Exactly.
Now, you mentioned being wanting to be a cowboy growing up, and you're doing this music thing. But when you were younger, you were more of an athlete growing up, for the most part, right?
Yeah, man. So, back in Woodstock, growing up, I would have been probably picked on pretty heavy for picking up a guitar and trying that racket. And for me, it was all about sports in high school. So I wasn't, size matters in football, and I ain't the biggest fella in the world. So I was like, well, I'm going to do wrestling. So I wrestled for 6 years. I was team captain for 3 of the years I was there, and state placer for 2 of them. And now I have the aches and pains to prove it. So, yeah. I was a hard-nosed wrestler back in the day, and that was a great chapter of my life for sure.
Well, I was gonna say it's always neat to hear folks. When did you decide though to kind of give up maybe being an athlete? And was that when college came calling? You didn't want to go wrestle in college?
Absolutely not. I was not going to cut weight 365 days of the year and watch what I ate and run a mile. And we were running 5Ks a day back in those days, and I was like, I'm done. I'm going to go party. I'm going to go have a good time. And that's kind of what happened. I was like, well, I'm going to the party school of Georgia, which is Georgia Southern. I mean, ask anybody, they'll tell you how Georgia Southern is. And I mean, that's where I kind of picked up the whole playing country music thing. Was, I mean, I'd always played country music in my room as a kid, and always did that. And I never really wanted to get out and do it, and until I went to college and realized I can drink for free and make money doing this. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do this thing. But
Smart man, smart
yeah,
man.
it worked
Well,
out.
and I was gonna say it's working out pretty well for you. And was it you talked a little bit about riding horses on your grandpa's farm? Is that summers working there? Is that really what got you into country music?
I mean, I think Macon, Georgia, and Liszella, Georgia, where he had his little farm. That's where that's my happy place, as I would say as a kid. We'd always go there every summer, and we stay months on end and just play 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 with the horses, ride four wheelers, dirt bikes, tend the garden, anything you wanted. My granddad made sure that we got, and I said I want horses, so we had plenty of horses out there. We had 5 at one point, and then and yeah, man, it was a dream, man. Getting ride your horse up to granddaddy's house and stake it off at the post and ride it back. I mean, it's just that was life, man. That I miss it, man. As he's gotten older, he had to give up all that, and you miss doing stuff like that. But man, I tell you, that was some of the greatest years of my life was growing up there. Yeah.
Well, and it leaves those lasting memories, and it's one where I'm sure as you're writing and so forth, you can pull from that. And you talk about kind of being that cowboy growing up, being able to ride the horses, and I'm sure your grandpa had some good tunes in the tractor or in the truck. So what music, what artists did you kind of grow up on and maybe influenced you?
Well, I can tell you, my granddaddy was a huge Conway Twitty fan, as well as Merle Haggard. So it was either Conway or Merle. That was all I would listen to. And then, my
Not a
grandmama
bad combo.
my grandmama got me into George Jones a lot, and my dad kind of got me into the Southern rock. So Allman Brothers, Skinner, of course. I love Leonard Skinner. We play a lot of that live, and um, you know, yeah. So I kind of got a melting pot version of everything, but my granddad was big on Conway and Merle. Yeah.
Well, and you talk about growing up in rural Georgia. I mean, what impact did that kind of have on you? Just everything. I'm guessing, that's probably why you wear the cowboy hat today and enjoy being outdoors.
Well, that's it. And I think it stands for something. I think it stands for from where you're from, and from where I'm from, man. It's just it's Georgia's is like the heart of the South, as it's called. And I think I think growing up, you're taught yes sir, no ma'am. You're taught to hold the door open. You're taught to do this, that, the other, and I think continuing those values is what's so important to keeping this home we got stable. So just carrying those values, and it means a lot more. I think it just means being free and living your life the way you want to live it.
Well, and I'm sure it kind of sets you up for who you are and in this crazy business to keep you a little grounded too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you talked about when you went down to Georgia Southern, that's kind of when things kind of came together for you, with the band and playing. But before that, you said you were an athlete because the guitar may not have been the right choice of instrument during high school in those days. But when did you really start getting into playing music? Because I'm guessing you just weren't all of a sudden just doing it at Georgia Southern, or were you?
No, so funny, I'll tell you a little story. So back in like middle school, I was doing scouts and I was doing stuff like that. Just, I love being outside. So I did scouts, and we were on this retreat one time, this camping trip, and there was these girl counselors that we all found very, very attractive. And there was this one kid, I think his name was, I can't remember his name now, but he had a damn ukulele, and all them girls would circle around his ass. They wouldn't care about me. So I saw that. I was like, all right, I'm learning it. So I went and I got ukulele lessons, and I learned how to play, like I'm Yours, Jason Mraz, and like Banana Pancakes, all the songs the girls love to hear. And then I went and I did the talent show for my middle school in the 7th grade, and I won it. And I had a girlfriend 2 weeks later. So it worked perfect. It was a perfect play, man. It was a perfect play.
I love that. I love that. Well, and this is so funny. There's a lot of times, a lot of people that I talk to, that's how they got it, or they'd sit around a campfire, and why not them to be the one that brings out the guitar and entertains the crowd. And when you did get to Georgia Southern, that you said you started playing a lot more. What was it like to kind of form the band and actually be putting on shows?
Oh, that was like something that kind of happened out of the blue for me, because at that time I was making good money just doing these solo shows and, playing the back patios for a bunch of college kids. And I was like, well, I want to go inside and play the big bar, and, but you can't do that by yourself. You need a band. And I was thinking, that was always in the back of my mind. And then I was at a pawn shop, literally down there playing a guitar in there. And then another guy's playing one of his, and we start playing together. And the next thing you know, the guy who's stringing my guitar up comes over and says, yo, I'll play bass. I mean, if y'all want to do something about this. And he's like, sure, let's meet on Friday or something. And then lo and behold, I still have the same guitarist. I still have, the same bass player. So, I mean, it's awesome. So, I still got my core band here with me. So, it's been crazy.
All off of a pawn shop stop.
That's it. All off of, hey, come over Friday. We'll play some songs if y'all want. So, I mean, it's that's kind of how it happened, man. It's just everything's kind of happened on a whim, on a chance. I think if you don't take chances, you never know what could happen. And that's like the voice thing too.
That's what I was gonna say. Was it a whim that you ended up on The Voice? I mean, what pushed you to go that route?
Literally, yeah. It was after, speaking of drinking, we were playing the show in Statesboro for like, there's maybe 1,500 people there, the biggest bar down there. And we were playing that show, and then I came home and I looked down and I was like, man, I got 2 months till I graduate college, and I don't know what I want to do. And I was literally scrolling on Instagram, one eye open. I've been drinking all night, having a good time, and I was scrolling on my phone, and I saw an advertisement for The Voice, because at that time COVID was still a thing, and they weren't doing in-person auditions, and it was just like put your name, phone number, email, and a video of you singing. So I was like, shoot, why not? So I just sent it, and I forgot about it. I honestly forgot about it for like 3 weeks, and I get a call from Beverly Hills, California, and I was like, what is
And you
going on?
answered it?
I answered it, and it was, hi, I'm Kyle. I'm a producer on The Voice. Am I speaking with Bryce Leatherwood? He said, yeah. I was like, well, we want you to come out here, man. We want you to come out here and audition. And I was like, shoot, let me know. So I graduated in May of 22, caught a plane flight to LA 2 weeks later, and came back in December of 22, the winter. So it's pretty crazy, man. Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say, I mean, and it's one of those things too where you can't really say a whole lot. You can't give away too much. So I mean, was it weird too once you went out, did it knowing that now that we now know you got on the show, you went? Was it weird to be like, hey, I auditioned, but I can't tell you?
Oh, I told everybody. I mean, I was like, hey, don't tell nobody, but hey, by the way, But yeah, I was a little bit of a troublemaker out in LA. I mean, that was kind of I've never been to California before, so I mean, it was kind of a culture shock for old Bryce. So it was a great time though. It was a lot of fun, and met a lot of great people, a lot of great friends. And I think that was the biggest takeaway, was all the people, and actually collaborating with other musicians. I've never really done that besides my band, and I think that's what kind of gave me a leg up, was just having the experience of grinding. I played three days a week, 4 hours a night in college, just making money, and then I got the band, and then being able to be on stage with a band is something a lot of people haven't done before at that stage of the game, and I think that kind of like helped me out a lot. Yeah.
Well, and for those that did watch, they know what song you performed, for the blinds, and you performed a Conway Twitty song, but it was Blake's cover version.
Yeah.
What? Obviously, you're your grandpa's Conway Twitty fan. You grew up on that, but that's kind of risky to be doing that song on that show right then and there.
I mean, it was all a selling point, man, to be honest with you. It was all, hey, to Blake, because I knew I was going to go Blake if he turned around. That's who I wanted to go with. I think that was the only smart decision to make. And I know I love Gwen. Gwen's an angel. She was so cool to talk to. I've talked to her a lot. And John turned around too, but I was going with Blake. There's no doubt. And that song, I've been singing that song since I was 2 years old, man. That's a song that my granddad showed me since I was a kid. And it was only right to go back to my roots and sing, a song that meant the most to me, for sure.
Well, and like you said, you ended up being able to go on and win, and a wild card to boot at that. What was that whole experience like for you? Because you kind of touched on it. You're able to really kind of probably see how things work in the industry and so forth, and meet a ton of people.
Oh yeah, I mean, looking back, it feels like a fever dream. I mean, if you told me that happened a year ago before it happened, I would have tell you you're out of your mind. I mean, there's no way. I mean, and the reality is I just remained myself, and I think that's what really kind of translated to people is that I'm not going to change for nobody, but at the same time, man, that show they teach you a lot. It's really a boot camp. I would explain it the best. It's an art. If you want to be an artist, it's an artist boot camp. It really teaches you how to be in front of a camera, how to talk to people, how to interact, how to work a camera on stage, and the people out there were so awesome, and they've been so great to me after The Voice. I mean, as everybody who watched it knows, and it's just great people out there in LA, man. They were very, very respectable and just awesome people.
Well, and you've been able to go back a few times, one to celebrate Blake retiring, and then being able to perform one of your own songs. How cool was that to be able to not only go back, but one of the songs that you had put out and share that with everybody?
That's the thing is it was so cool. I mean, just because you always want to, because I had original songs before then that I've written. I was like, man, did we get to sing original songs in The Voice? We're like, nah, it's not really kind of how this works. And I was like, okay, well, that's my goal one day to come back here and sing one of my songs. So, because they bring in spot guest performers all the time for the finale, and I got the call from The Voice to say, hey, you want to come out here and sing your first song? I was like, absolutely. So I got to go back out there and hang out with Reba and Gwen and John again, which is really cool, and Niall, and that was a dream come true once again. So yeah, and to perform with all of Blake's winners. I mean, I got to meet, got to become great friends with Danielle Bradbury. Got to meet, Jermaine, and a whole slew of great people out there who love Blake just as much as I do.
Well, and is it true that Reba told you she was a big fan, and were you like, wait, what?
Yeah. So after I performed, of course, there's how television works. You perform live, and then you have a little break, and during that time, the judges get a drink or whatever they want. And I got to go hang out with Reba, and Reba's like, Bryce, you're so good. And I was like, thank you. That means the most coming from you. Literally the queen of country music. And she was like, well, I've actually been following you for the past, half a year since you won. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. And I didn't know my manager had been talking to Reba a lot, just talking about me, and because they're good friends. And I was like, yeah, well, your manager, he's a big fan of you, and he was showing me your stuff very early on, and I can say I'm a Bryce Leatherwood fan, and I was just about in tears, just like, oh my gosh, Reba McEntire is a fan of me, which blows my mind. So really, really cool.
You're gonna put that on a T-shirt.
Reba
put that on a T-shirt.
Is a fan of me. That's it. Put that on a shirt. Sell it for $10.
But I mean, that's awesome. And now it's kind of, if you think about it, it's come full circle, because I saw where you shared a video of one of your smallest fans jamming out to Neon Does. Is it wild to have people tagging you, sending you videos like that?
Man, that's the coolest thing. If you're ever having a bad day, you just pull one of those up. It's just, that's what it's all about. That's what music's all about, is what it does to people. And, if it makes people happy, you're doing the right thing. And I think, it's not about whether it makes me happy or not. It's about whether it makes them happy, because that's what music's all about. So seeing those videos just makes me so happy, and I have to share them. I have to share them and show people just how even my little song can make somebody like that so happy, you know.
Well, and I was gonna say, was the first moment that you saw someone either singing back one of your songs or tagging you while singing a song, was that kind of weird that it was something you have done and put out there, and they're making it their own in a sense?
Oh, it's never gonna hit me. I mean, because we've been on the road now for 4 weeks, and hearing crowds just scream your song right back at you is just the best feeling in the world. I don't care how tall the roller coaster is or how cool that your car is. That feeling right there is the best in the world. So I get to go do that every night, and hear my songs being sung back to me. It's incredible, and I just want to do it for the rest of my life. And that's all I'm going to do.
Well, and you've been putting out several songs here the past few months. Your most recent, though, was a pretty personal one for you, kind of an ode to your parents and their 25 years, the one my daddy found. What can you take us through that song and what it means to you?
Yeah, so we wrote this song, I would say, about a year ago today, almost. I mean, I think it was in the same month that we're in now, and we were just trying to figure out something to write that day, and I was like, we're talking about the girlfriends and girls and wives and all that stuff, because I'm right with older gentlemen, of course, but we started talking, and I was like, man, I just want to find a girl like the one my daddy found, and said, that's what we're writing today, so let's write it, and it worked out great. It was a great song, and I fell in love with it immediately. My mom and dad were in tears thinking about it, and very early on, I was like, I want to put this one out, right around this time of year, and we did it. And I just think, it's as vulnerable as a guy can get, I think, and it's a beautiful ode to my parents, who are my heroes, and they were the ones that really kind of pushed me to do this. They were like, man, Bryce, we don't care. We'll support you, whatever it takes for you to do what you love to do. I mean, don't think you need to go chasing dollar signs. Just do what you love to do, whether you're broke or not. So they've always been very supportive of me, and very, 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 very much my biggest fans, and the biggest fans of my success so far.
Well, it's pretty cool to now pretty much forever they'll have a song about them, and and then you talk about that one being kind of sentimental, being a little on that side. Your other two songs that you've kind of put out have been a little different. One you co-wrote, Neon Does. The other one, The Finger, which is one that clearly spoke to you. Can you talk a little bit about those two songs?
Oh Lord, you're gonna get into this one. All right, well, Neon Does was just a fun. I was like, I want to play a song that reminds me of Statesboro, which is a party scene, dancing, everybody's having a good time. And yeah, it just came out of thin air, and we wrote that song in like an hour and a half, and it was a pretty much a shoe in for that. And I was like, hell yeah, let's release this guy. And then of course, The Finger off the rip. I've been writing a lot, but as I write, I've written well over 120 songs since moving to Nashville in January of 2023. And we have a lot that we love, but at the time, trying to put music out quick, I wanted to give something that was ready. And while I also write a lot of songs, I have a lot of people sending me songs here in Nashville, and that and if a song, and the reality is the best song wins no matter what. I could write a great song that I think is a great song, but then I get sent a song from who knows what in Nashville. It's like, damn, this is a great song, And I mean, ask George Strait, ask George Jones, ask the people who are the legends of this business. That's the way they did it. And I love a lot of outside songs too, and I think it speaks to a lot of people when it comes to the writers, because a lot of the writers moved to Nashville to be artists, and they didn't get those opportunities. And I have a voice where I get to speak a lot of their songs too. So The Finger kind of falls in that category of I heard it and I was like, and I had a little situation happen, in the past where I was like, oh, this lines up perfect. Let's drop this thing right here. Let's drop this bomb, and it's still the song that people love the most, I think. they love that song the most. It's just such a great sing along song, and kind of has a good tongue in cheek punch to it, I think.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, and sometimes those are fun, but again, whether it's Neon Does, The Finger, or the one my daddy found, I have a feeling people can find themselves in any one of those songs. Some for better reasons than others, but but that goes back to just songwriting and country music, being able to tell those stories.
Oh, absolutely. And, I just want to be as authentic as I can to myself, and that's all I know how to do. So it's been great so far, and I just can't wait to show y'all what we've been working on. It's really, really, really cool. Yeah.
Well, and you kind of answered what I was going to ask next. So I think I read on one of the articles, that had been written about you, that when you moved up to Nashville, you had done some songwriting, but not like what Nashville songwriting is.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you've done more than 120 songs in 450 days, 500 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's Monday through Friday. That's what I do. So if I'm not on the road, I'm writing. I just think, always staying locked into that creative process. And the reality is you got to be the hardest worker in the room. You got to be the hardest worker, and because everybody's working hard. If you want to make it in this business, you got to work hard. And it's just, that's my therapy, man. Is going to write every day. It's the most fun thing in the world too, to get a great song. That's one of the best feelings besides walking off stage. Is writing a great song. So yeah, we've been grinding it, and got a lot of good ones, man. We're pumped.
Well, and what's the process like for you? I mean, I know like for the one when you're talking to the guys in the room, you mentioned something about your parents. Another one with Neon Does, I'm sure some different songs that have been big hits mentioned. Neon kind of maybe kicked it off, but like for you, is it life experiences? Is it just one of those weird lines you hear somewhere else and you write it down on your phone? How does it work for you and being able to bring it to life?
Man, it's kind of a mix of everything. There's things that are very personal that I'll write about myself, by myself. There's things, life experiences I'll bring in, and I'm always jotting stuff down. I'm always, whether I'm in a car headed back home from a show, or on the road, or about to pull into the lot to go write one. I'm always just writing stuff down. Whatever catches my ear, or something somebody says, or you know. You kind of always have to keep. It's not like you have to. For me, I always have that creative button on. Just whatever pops into my head, or once you get in a room, man, it's just you'll feel the ebb and flow of the song. You just feel it go, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you write for 4 hours and you're like, this isn't doing it. I don't think we're doing the song justice. And sometimes, the reality is the song is king here in Nashville. And I think, if you keep that mindset, people will gravitate towards great songs, great lyrics, great melodies. And it all starts with a story. So I think we have a lot more stories to tell, and I just can't wait for everybody to listen to them.
Well, and you talk about, kind of Nashville. How big of an impact was it for you to leave your hometown down in Georgia and move up there? And I mean, you were living on the couch for a few months before you got settled into?
Yeah, so I mean, I was itching so hard to get up here. I was just like, I just got to get to Nashville. So I literally, once I got back home from the show, I literally went down to Statesboro, packed up my whole college room, moved up to my hometown of Woodstock, lived in my parents' basement for a couple weeks, and just driving back to Nashville. It was about a 4-hour drive every day. And then I was like, and my buddy was like, hey, man, you got a place to stay here. It was like, all right, if you don't mind. So I lived on a couch for 5 to 6 months, and was sick every month living on that couch. But it was cold. And I live in the same house now. So I actually, one of the roommates moved out, and I live in the same house right here. So
you upgraded.
Upgraded about 15 feet. But yeah, man, it's I'm living the dream, man. I get to go write songs every day and go perform live every weekend. So it's a dream come true, brother. Well, I'm in hillbilly paradise up here, man.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, the best way to do it is to actually go and make things happen, and Nashville is where country music happens. And you talk about being able to go out on the road. You know, Neon Does was one of your songs. That's the tour name. How cool was it for you to go back to Statesboro? For those that don't know, that's where Georgia Southern's at, and kick everything off.
Well, if I had to do it again, I would end on Statesboro because we had a damn good time. We tore it up, and it was a fun night, man. Having all those people out there, and just the most lively crowd you could imagine. I mean, that's my home, man, and I'll always give back to Georgia Southern. They're what supported me since the start. So it was the right thing to do to go back there first, and that'll go down as one of my favorite shows of all time for sure.
Well, and I saw one of your other shows. I forget where at. I had Scoot on a couple weeks
Yeah,
back, and and how cool is it to be able to, while you're on tour, be able to share it with some other Georgia artists, and kind of all tie, lift everyone up.
well, that's it, man. And Scoot's a great kid and great singer, and it can write great songs too. And I'm trying to get him on a write with me soon. And you always want to give back. I think just give advice, because he's a younger kid, but at the same time, he's got a great team and got a great thing going already. And I mean, he doesn't need my help, Lord knows that. But it's always great to if he asks questions, and he's asked a lot of questions about hey, what about this, what about that? I mean, it's just you want to. It's always great to help people, and to help other artists. And I mean, it's a community here in Nashville. I mean, it is, and uh, there's an old saying, you don't want to piss off the people on your way up because you get to meet them on your way back down. So uh, it's all. I think being nice can get you a long way in life, and I think that's my thing is always be nice, and it's really easy with a guy like Scoot, man. He's an awesome kid and killer artist. So I'm ready to see what he does too.
I was gonna say that might be that Georgia upbringing for you both, and you talk about being able to perform live, and I always, this is one of my favorite questions to ask everybody. I ask everyone because I think it can change depending 2 years later or whatnot. Is there a favorite song for you to perform live, whether it's one of yours or maybe someone else's or maybe both?
Man, I got this. I was thinking about that. Yeah, I got this one that it's not released yet, but funny enough, by the time the second chorus comes around, everybody's singing it. It's called "Where the Bar Is," and it's a fun, big old honky tonk song. And I think people are gonna fall in love with that one whenever it emerges itself out into the public. Whenever that happens, so like I said, we got a lot of new music cooking up, and I just got out of the studio last month, so we're wrapping up a big project. So y'all stay tuned, man. It's gonna be cool.
I like it. A good tease. But I mean, how rewarding is it though? Because in a sense, that's the old school way of being able to go and perform the songs for folks and have them. Nowadays people can put them out on TikTok and
Yeah.
kind of go that route as well. But to actually be live, something they've never heard, and then them catch it and sing it back. I mean, that's got to be pretty rewarding because I don't feel like that happens, like, in a sense, a little old soul, a little old school from you.
Well, that's it. I mean, the old school way of doing that is crowd testing songs. I mean, I'll go out and I'll play a song I won't play the next night just to get a feel for it with the crowd. Always testing the songs I'm writing. Because I mean, you can post them all you want on TikTok and all that stuff, but you won't get a real reaction unless you see people reacting to your song when they're there. That's where the rubber meets the road. So it's great to be able to have those songs and when they're good when they start singing them right back, right off the rip. So yeah, we got a lot of great songs like that coming out, man, and I'm just I'm itching, man. I'm so ready for these new songs and yeah, being on the road again, man.
Well, I was gonna say you're kind of in the middle of the Neon Does tour. I think you got a little break here while we were able to do this interview, and you've pretty much touched on it. You got some more stuff coming out, and you're a troublemaker, so I have no clue how you're gonna answer this. But what else can folks expect from you in 2024? If you get in trouble, it's not my fault.
Yeah, the goal is to not get arrested or to throw a chair off the roof of a bar. But you know, we got a lot of things coming up in the works. I think we're gonna choose a song, and I think it'll be put out somewhere bigger than just Spotify. So we're looking to do that, and maybe a whole plethora of songs this year at the beginning of 2025. We don't know yet, so we just got a bunch of. I'm gonna be teasing a lot. I'm gonna be putting out some cool little things. We got a couple cover songs that we did a little acoustic session with that might be put out there on all platforms, and some really cool, out of genre stuff. So some really cool stuff we're working on, and it's gonna sound country no matter what. Don't worry about it. But it's gonna be a big year. I'm just ready to do it.
Well, man, it's off to a great start. You've been putting out some great music. Sounds like the shows have been going well. And Bryce, thanks for teasing everyone just enough to keep them interested and sharing a drink with me, man.
Absolutely, man. Cheers to y'all. And Jonathan, I appreciate it. Till next time, brother.
Absolutely.
Find more from Hops and Spirits at hopspirits.com.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.